What's up, guys? Let me get myself together. I'm always getting myself together. Why is that? Something to consider. Plug this in. What's going on, guys? Give me a second. There we go. Okay. As my Cajun brother says, you gotta hydrate. And if you don't watch YouTube, you're not or the videos, you're not gonna know who that is. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I pray everything is well. Welcome to another Friday. Oh, hold on one second. There we go. Another Friday. And I am your host, Keith K.L. Belvin. Let me formally introduce myself. I am a crisis specialist, professional counselor, author, and educational consultant. And every Friday at 10:30, I come on live to have a conversation, something that deals with the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health positions that we are in. And my job as a crisis specialist and professional counselor is to try to help people solve the problems that they're going through, or at least try to make sense of it. I don't always have the answers, but I at least try to make sense of the things that folks are dealing with. I came on earlier in the week because I did have a friend that passed away, and I just wanted to jump on to have a conversation in terms of dealing with passing. But as I told you, I would be on my regular time, which is every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I am on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube Live. I know I've been catching flack from my Instagram and TikTok folks, but I'm going to be honest with you. You have to look at your ROI. And what is your ROI? Return on investment. LinkedIn just doesn't do it for me. That's just me. I'm not saying that the app is not a good one. It just doesn't work for me. And with TikTok, I wouldn't have a problem going live there. But the problem is how easy it is for people to have your work suspended, and then you now have to fight for your products. And I'm not feeling that I could actually be speaking on what I choose to speak on, and somebody else gets offended and my stuff gets removed. Oh, no, I don't like anybody having that type of control over my products. So these are the 4 platforms that I use. So again, if you're watching me, welcome. Again, you can come in the chat, let me know who you are, where you're seeing me from, and say good morning. That's the proper thing, as they say. As I'm saying good morning to you, you can always jump in the chat and say good morning to me. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is wants versus needs, or needs versus wants, however you want to look at it. And it's a very deep conversation, but I'm not going to take it that deep today because it is one of those things that you could have a whole panel discussion on, because often they're blended. And what I mean by blended is often we will think of what we want as what we actually need. And then often we blur what we actually need by not looking at it as important as it is. Now, I hope that makes sense. But I'm going to look at what a need is, what a want is. We're going to look at that happiness is part of that, because happiness is a choice. You have a choice to be happy because it's based on how you see where you are. And I'll give you an example. Some people think rich people should be happy, but yet there are rich people who are not happy, even though they have all the wealth. There are poor people that a lot of people feel should be poor, but they are not, because they are comfortable and their needs are being met. I saw an interview with Brother Bob Marley, and the person interviewing him was white. And he said to him, you know, you're rich. And Bob Marley, and he said, okay, and what makes me rich? That I have a lot of money? And the white guy said, yes. He said, that doesn't make me rich. He said, money don't make a person rich. And he talked about my family being healthy, him being healthy. Those things make him rich. Again, that connects to wants versus needs. Some people want to be rich. Some people don't need the extra that comes with being rich because their needs are being met. And we're going to have that conversation, and also what it looks like in relationships. I'm going to look at 10 emotional needs that people need in relationships. And I'm going to look at 5 essentials to healthy relationships. And if I have enough time, I'll talk about that. No one should actually, no one has to meet your needs. And I know that can create a little issue. So that'll be towards the end. Yes, I said it. No one has to meet your needs. It is a choice. I know often we say what we want. And this is, again, the want versus the need. That doesn't mean that somebody has to. They can choose to. And it would be very nice to have somebody take care of your needs. But it is not their responsibility, male or female. But I'll get into that in a little bit. So again, I want to say thank you for joining me this morning. And again, if you're watching, please jump in and say good morning. Let me know that you're there. Put a 1 in the chat to let me know that you're there, that you're listening to me. I think there's a couple people on, but again, because I'm on multiple platforms, I can't see where everybody is. So, and I just want folks to know that. All right, nope, now we're going to take that off. We're not doing that right now. Okay, let me just put this up here. Where is it at? Oh, I could have swore I put it up there and I did not. Oh, did I not save it? All right, sorry about that, guys. Hold on 1 second. I forgot to put up what we're actually talking about. And of course, we're always dealing with positive mental health, positive spiritual health, positive emotional health. Wants, let me put this in here, wants versus needs. I'll do the quick version. Okay, here we go. Just so if folks pop in, they'll have an idea of what we're talking about. All right, so with that said, if anybody who's watching, tell me something that we must have. What's a need that all of us have? Because we all have 5 basic needs. Anybody know what the 5 basic needs are? Come on. If you're watching, go ahead and throw it in the chat for me. What is one of our basic needs? And if not, I'll give you about a hot 15 seconds and then I'll go through it. We have 5 basic needs, and those are needs that every human on this planet should or must have to survive. Unfortunately, many of us don't have all 5, and we must try to figure it out. But a couple, if we don't have, we will die. So you need them all. All right. Okay. I don't see nobody popping in the chat. I'll take care of this myself. I got you. Now, your basic needs. This is the ground floor of needs is air. We all need air. Take away the air. That's all she wrote. That's it. We all need food. Take away any sustenance. That again is all she wrote. Take away water. We all need water. All right. Take away water. That is it. Clothing is a need, even though there's some people that would love to run around naked. And there are those who argue we don't need clothes. But in a civilized society, you need clothes. But that is an argument. And I understand if you want to make that argument. If you were to talk to my wife, she would make that argument that she hates that she has to put on clothes. So to her, it is not a need. It is what she has to do because the law says she has to. If my wife had her way, she'd run around here stark ass naked, pardon my language. And the last one, which is a need, is shelter. And again, as much as people would make that argument that we don't need shelter, you do. The elements are brutal. Right now, it is 100 plus all over the world, and people are dying from the temperatures. And then when you reverse that, when the temperatures are cold and minus outside, if you don't have shelter, then you could die to the elements. So those are the 5 basic needs: air, food, water, clothing, and shelter. Now, all of us know that, so I'm not breaking any super news on that right there. It's what's needed. But okay, here's what I want to now in connection to wants. And I want to show you how wants work in connection with our basic needs, right? I gave you the 5 basic needs, and I'm going to get into the relationship part in a second. So we know what our 5 basic needs are. So when we look at what we want, so air is a need, right? But you may want lavender scented air. Is that needed? No. It is what you want. Now, why you want it is your right. You can want whatever you want. Let me just say that if I don't say nothing else. You are entitled to want whatever you want. I am just saying it may not be, it is not what you need. I'm not may, it's the truth. It's not what you need. It's what you want. You want lavender scented air. Okay. If you can get it or you can create it, do you. But at the end of the day, as long as you have basic as air, you're good to go. Second, food. You may want steak and ice cream. And you may go, what's wrong with that? Nothing. But that's not the need. That is a want. As long as you have some type of food. And for my Christian brothers and sisters, where this was evident, if you remember the story of Moses, it said manna rained down from heaven to feed the people of Israel who were out in the desert. Well, like many of us, when we eat stuff that's just basic or sustains our needs, we wanted more. So they complained, the people of Israel complained, and they were given meat. So we want meat. We want meat. Didn't say we needed meat. So God, being favorable, said, okay, y'all are complaining, and you know I helped y'all out, but okay, here's some meat. And it said the quails came over and dropped down, so meat just fell down too. And we still found reason to complain after that. But yes, so food is a need, but wanting steak and ice cream is a want, keyword. Water is a need, but wanting filtered bottled water is a want. Now, there's nothing wrong with filtered bottled water. But at the end of the day, as long as you have clean drinking water, ask my folks out in Flint, ask those brothers and sisters who served at Camp Lejeune how critical clean water is. So I need to stress that clean drinking water, because yes, you could drink dirty water and it will sustain you, but the microbes and everything else that's in it will eventually kill you. So it is very clear that we stress clean water, because sadly in this country, there are folks that says, but at least they have water, meaning that we gave them the basics, but it wasn't clean. So all you did was kill them slower than if they had no water. Please keep that in mind. So now clothing. Now this becomes a big thing. Parents, please listen to this one. Clothing. Us parents go, this is what you need. The kid goes, but I want, and insert the brand name that you want. And you go, this is what you need. Kid goes, this is what I want. And y'all fight. And for some parents, they give into that fight and they give the kid what they want. Is it wrong? Well, we'll see as the kid gets older what that turns into, as well as we see adults who, when you say, but this is all you need, and a person fights you to death and go, I don't care. This is what I want. And what you want dictates a lot of the actions that we put into motion. And I'm getting to the relationship part as well, because often, as I said, we overlook what we need. We don't discuss what we need, and we turn our wants into needs. And we become so adamant about it and so passionate about what we want that it starts to sound like a need. And the crazy part is it lures other people in where they start to think that's what they need. And we get so far away from what we actually need that when we're presented with it, we poo-poo it. We look at it in a negative light. And again, to my brothers and sisters who are spiritual and religious, that is one of the problems that we face when dealing with spirituality. When we look at, from a spiritual position, God giving us what we need, what gets us into trouble is what we want. And when we act on those wants, we get ourselves in a lot of trouble. Okay, last one, shelter. As I said, we all need to be sheltered from the elements. But a lot of us will say, I want a home with modern amenities. Bunk that. I want a home with modern amenities. I'm not trying to hear anything you talking about, Keith. Yeah, and if I want it, there's no reason why I can't have it. Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. If that's what you want, that's what you want. But is it what you need? And often, again, when we're dealing with housing, we figure if I gave you enough, if I gave you the basic, that's it. And to some arguments, you're right. That's all they need. Their wants are never taken into consideration. And hence, that's why we have a have and have nots situation in this country. Now, again, what I want you to look at, right? Now, let's look at the definition of need, because I just gave you those examples of what a want is, what a need is. But let's look at the actual definition of a need, right? A need is something necessary to live and function. Keep that in mind, please. And I'm going somewhere with this. And what I want you to start thinking about as you're listening to me, right? The things that are in your life, do you need them? Or is it just you want them? Because here's the thing, are the things that are in your life, relationship-wise, work-wise, financial, whatever it is, are they the things necessary for you to live and function? That's one question. Now, let's look at the other side of this coin. Here's the biggie. A want is something that can improve your quality of life. Now, this definition, I literally turned my face up, and I'm going to tell you why. It says something that can improve your quality of life. I don't believe that, even though that is the definition that came up. I don't believe that. And I'm going to tell you why. People often want things that don't make their lives better. And I understand what the books say. So I'm going to just say I disagree from a professional standpoint, because as a professional counselor, I deal with people who honestly, once they got what they wanted, it turned out not to be what they needed and actually hurt them. So I don't believe that all wants improve your quality of life, because I believe you have to look at what's the basis of the want. Where is the want coming from? If it's coming from a negative position, I want just because I want, that's not quality. If I want just because they have and I want it too, that's not quality. And if the want fulfills some type of negative disposition inside the person, that is not quality. But again, I understand the definition. And often, here's the thing. I figured this out just thinking about it, right? Do you know that happiness is something I believe we need and also something we want? And I'm going to tell you why I mentioned that. Is because I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I was saying when your wants and needs don't align, you can get yourself in trouble. When you're not looking at what you need and looking at what you want and mirroring them together. So if I want a nice house and I need a house, and I decide to choose something that's going to be able to give me what I want, take care of what I need, I'm good. It's aligned. I'm happy. But I think part of the reason why we have such a deluge of unhappiness is because we're not aligning what we want and what we need together. It's a marriage. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about, right? Okay, look at the definition of happiness I saw. And again, there may be others. This is the one I did a quick search. I was putting some stuff together for today. Happiness is the context of mental or emotional states. It's positive or pleasant emotions ranging from the contentment to intense joy. So happiness has ranges. And if happiness has ranges, that means we have to figure out where we are with that. Some of us are going to be, and that's what makes it personal for each person. Each person's happiness is different, even though we have the same basic needs. Our wants are different, but when we marry the two, what is happiness to me based on my basic needs and wants is going to be different than yours. And that is why we have such confusion in relationships and other aspects, because what happens is We don't marry the two. Some of us are only operating from a position of want. Some of us are only operating from a position of need in our relationships, in how we live life, in our happiness. Some people have convinced themselves that as long as I have the basic, if I just have the minimal amount of happiness, I'm okay. As long as I'm content. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't keep an eye out for intense joy. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to achieve intense joy. And again, let's go back to the definition. The context of mental or emotional states. It is positive or pleasant emotion. Positive or pleasant. Now that's interesting. Can something be pleasant and be negative? Mm-hmm. Can it be positive or negative? Don't agree with that. That's why I said positive or pleasant emotion. And now leading to relationships, that's where many of us get tricked up, is we let pleasant and positive emotion trick us into thinking we have all we need in a relationship. And hence the contentment is okay. And we stop looking at intense joy because we didn't actually come to the table with, no, I need more. And because I expect more from myself, then that expectation can be put out to those that I bring into my circle. That's why I said, no, it's no one else's job to make you happy. No one else's job. Well, no, let me take that back. It's no one else's job to meet all your needs. They can assist you and you can assist them. And if you have that mutual understanding, you can build kingdoms. But it starts with you having a strong understanding of yourself. Often what I find is people do not. And as a counselor and a person who works mostly with women, I have noticed that a lot of the women that I work with have made themselves content with things that are kind of negative, but they're pleasant. And in some have made themselves content on things that are clearly negative. They have reduced their happiness to just fleeting moments. And when you actually make attempts to say you're worth more, you should want more, and here's the big one, you need more, they literally fight me. Yeah, they fight me. They fight me on it because it's not something that they're used to. And I have found when that happens, they regress, they pull back, they become recluse. I've had clients ghost me because we've started to get to a position where we're uncovering what's wrong and it starts to feel uncomfortable. So the only avenue is to ghost me. And what I mean by ghosting is they literally just stop calling. They don't make their sessions and they literally just fade away like a ghost. And when I reach out, and I don't reach out as often because I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable, but I will reach out because here's my thing. We live in a time of COVID. I want to make sure people are okay. And I am really honest about that. When I reach out and go, are you okay? I'm not stressing the ghosting. I don't like it, but I'm not stressing because I get it. And there's nothing I can do about that. And this what connects back to the wants versus need. People want help, right? They'll come to me for help. But then when they realize what they need to do to get the help, to let the help sink in, some are not prepared for that. And you'll hear it. I don't want that. I don't like that. Hold on. Who likes medicine? But we take it. Who likes working out on a regular when you haven't or when you've been out of shape? But we know the benefits. Who likes eating healthy on a regular when you've tasted all the crap that's out here? But you know the benefits. You know what you need, but it's hard. So I noticed that, especially with counseling, folks will literally speak out of two mouths at the same time. They'll say to me, Keith, I really need to book a session with you. Okay. And then they'll come up with every excuse not to. Some will book the session, hear what they have to do, or start to get to a point where we're uncovering what's wrong. And as I said, they disappear. Now, what does any of this have to do with your relationships? This is what happens in relationships, guys. And this is why I'm leaving happiness up there, because I want you to pay attention. I said mental, the way you think; emotional, the way you feel. The context of how you think and the context of how you feel states. And those are two different states. How you feel and how you think is two different states. Mental is how you think. Emotional is how you feel, how you react. And they can be positive or pleasant emotions ranging from the contentment to intense joy. If you've ever seen the movie Pursuit of Happiness, I use this when I used to counsel men in New York City. And there's bits and pieces in that movie that are just incredible when you want to be able to offer up a visual to certain emotional states. I'll give you two right now before I get into the 10 emotional needs that we have in a relationship, right? But I'll give you two from the movie that I like. I would talk to men and I would show them the part when Will Smith and his son are in the bathroom at the train station. And somebody's getting ready to try to come through the door, and Will Smith is holding the door with his foot, and he's holding his son because he was unable to get online to get a room at the shelter, so he had nowhere else to stay, so he slept in the bathroom. And I would say to the men, do you think he knew that night? What do you think he was thinking that night when he was in that bathroom? What do you think he was thinking? I listened to all the men. And I go, do you think he knew that he would get past this internship and go on to be a millionaire multiple times over? And they would all agree and say no. And I said, exactly. His focus was on what he needed, not what he wanted. What he needed to do was get through to protect his son, to get some rest. And the only place he felt he could find that was in that bathroom. It wasn't about what he wanted. It was about what he needed to do. Many of us as men get caught up in what we want or feel we can't do instead of stopping and saying to ourselves, what do I need to do? Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, one of the things that he says is work on the first thing first, which means do the thing that needs to be done, the most important thing first. And many of us get caught and we get content with just doing basic. Just doing enough, myself included. I can't lie. There's been a lot of times I just didn't do more, and it cost me. I was content instead of looking for intense joy. And let me tell you something. One of the things that social media does that hurts, and people don't realize they're being hurt by it, is that you get stuck looking at other people, only a sliver of their life, right? But you look at that sliver and, oh, does it make you feel some type of way that you wish you had that, or you wish you were doing that, or you wish that you could be in their position, having no idea what this person is doing behind the scenes or what this person has given up, what this person has committed them to. You have no idea that what you believe is intense joy may be intense sorrow. And I can tell you firsthand, and I said this talking to somebody yesterday, often the people that you see on social media that are promoting that they are in this fantastic place, behind the scenes, they are as vile or as mixed up or as screwed up as you are. They just figured out a way to get things done and figured out a way to make money. And before I go on to this list, I want to give you this. Read Will Smith's Will, his autobiography. One of the things that you're going to read in Will Smith's autobiography is that you're going to realize he was screwed up long before he met Jada. He had emotional issues, counseling issues, abuse issues long before he was with Jada and never got any help. But he was able to turn the negatives in his life into things that could make him money. And he goes on to be a $20 million a picture actor, one of the best actors in Hollywood, one of the most successful actors in Hollywood, one of the most wealthiest actors in Hollywood. And the whole time internally, he screwed up. Is that what he wanted? No, but he felt he needed to take care of his family, and he did, and that's what he did. And the crazy part is he realized as he was getting psychological help how damaging that was. So what you saw Oscar night is just a culmination of a lot that was going on because, and I'll give you this example before I move on. Up until Oscar night, you didn't hear Will Smith curse. It wasn't a thing that he was big on because he didn't curse in his music, because if you read his book, he made a promise to his grandmother, Gigi. He didn't really curse in a lot of his movies. You might get a little damn or ASS and all that other stuff, a little something light, but no blatant cursing. And on the biggest stage, at the biggest time in his life, he stands on the stage and says, keep my mother effing wife's name out your mother effing mouth. And you may go, oh my God, where did that come from? No. But if you read his book, he is cursing throughout his book. And what you realize is that this has been a part of who he is, except it came out on that stage. You cannot hide what you really are for too long. You can do it for years, but eventually who and what you are will show itself. Hey, JJ, how we doing, brother? Good to see you. And that's the thing that I try to get across when I'm counseling, when I'm trying to help, is what you are. Who you are inside will show itself at some point. And for Will Smith, on the biggest night of his life, it wasn't about what he needed. He thought that's what he wanted to do, and it cost him. So it's super important that you understand your needs and your wants. Okay, let's get into this list. I got two lists I want to give you. First one is, here are 10 emotional needs to consider in a relationship. I'm good, bro. I'm very good. Thank you so much for asking. 10 emotional needs. Here's what I want you to do. If you're watching on replay, make sure that you put hashtag replay. And if you're here like Brother Jamie is, he's going to go with me. You're going to put a 1 up for each one of these. Actually, no. I'll go in order, 1 through 10. So if this is one of the things that you need, I'll tell you which one. You put a 1 or 2 or 3. We'll go from there. Okay. So if you need affection in a relationship, put a 1 up. And again, this list is to help give a face to the things that we believe we need in a relationship. But remember, it is on you to make yourself happy. And just keep an idea of that definition of happy right there below. Put a 1 up in the chat if you need affection. Thank you, Jamie. Put a 2 in the chat if you need acceptance from your partner when you are in or considering a relationship. These are the things that you need when considering a relationship and when you're in a relationship. All right. Thank you, Jamie. Validation. Put a 3 up if you need validation in a relationship. If you need to be validated in the dating process and in the actual relationship, if you need a validation from your partner, put a 3 up. Cool. Thank you, Jamie. If you need autonomy in a relationship, put up a number 4. If you need autonomy in a relationship, put up number 4. And if you're just joining or if you're watching on replay, I am Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist, professional counselor, author, and educational consultant. And every Friday at 10:30, I come on and try to discuss things that have to deal with emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual health. Autonomy is freedoms, Jamie. Autonomy is your freedom to be you. And an autonomous way is what allows you the space to be you. You need certain freedoms of you is the best way. You're certain independence, as we'll say. And so if you're joining, thank you for joining. If you're watching on replay, make sure you put hashtag replay so I know when you're coming on to watch. And again, I try to make everything positive because this is what I do. All right. Number 5, and you put a 5 in the chat if you need security. If you need security in your relationships, put a 5 in the chat. And again, these are the 10 emotional needs people need in a relationship. I didn't say if you have it. We're going to deal with that in a second. But this is do you feel you need these 10 here? If you don't, it's okay. But number 5, if you need security in a relationship? All right. Number 6, if you need trust in a relationship. When you are considering a relationship, do you need trust? Financial? I haven't gotten there yet. Financial is actually not on the list. But if that's on your list, it's okay. Because do you actually need do you need finances to be happy? And we're talking about emotional needs. Money doesn't affect your emotional needs. It can give you access, but emotionally, money itself does anything. It's how you feel about the money. But we could talk about that. Number 7, empathy, meaning a person who's willing to put themselves in your shoes and vice versa. Is empathy something that you need in a relationship? Number 7. Number 7. Finance is a big thing, believe it or not, Jamie. That's what starts a lot of fights. Poor communication, lack of trust, and poor finances can destroy a relationship. All right. Thank you, Jamie. Prioritization, meaning to prioritize. Do you need priority? Do you need the person to make you a priority in the relationship? Is that something that you need? Prioritization. That is number 8. When dating or in a relationship, do you need priority? Do you need prioritization to make things work? Number 9, do you need to have a connection with the person that you are in a relationship with? Number 9 of the 10 emotional needs to consider. Do you need to have a connection? If you do, put a 9 in the chat. Okay, Jamie put an 8 for prioritization. Got you. Put a 9 in the chat. If you need a connection with the person when you are in an emotional relationship or considering a relationship, do you need a connection? Number 9. And the last one on the 10 emotional needs. When someone needs and wants, what are some of the needs and wants in a relationship that's what we're talking about? The 10 emotional needs to consider in a relationship. Number 10 is space. Do you need your space when you are in a relationship? If the answer is yes, put a 10 in the chat. And that's just 10 of the emotional needs to consider in a relationship. Affection, acceptance, validation, autonomy, security, trust, empathy, prioritization, connection, and space. Now, some people will say they don't need these things. So these are not basic needs, meaning that not all people need these. No, you're not needy. Again, these are emotional needs. These are the things that people need. The question, Jamie, becomes, 1, do you actually seek those things out? And do you offer those things? So you're not needy. We all need these. I need affection. I need acceptance. I need validation. I enjoy autonomy. I like security. I definitely want trust. I definitely want a woman that empathizes with me. I would like to want a woman that prioritizes me, which I have. And I definitely want a connection with the person that I'm with and I have with my wife. And I still like my space. I'm in my office, which I spend a lot of time in my office when I want some me time. And so I believe I want all 10. Now, I have struggled with giving all 10. I'm going to be very transparent. I'm going to be very honest. I have struggled with some. And that is the reason why we actually look at the list. Because if we want these things and these are things that are needed, well, then we actually have to, through counseling and through conversation and everything else, why don't we give it? Because this is what's important. And I think most people would want all 10 things on the list. So if we all want affection, we all want acceptance, we all want validation, we all want autonomy, we all want security, we all want trust, we all want empathy, we all want prioritization, connection, and space, then what we have to look at and what you talk about with me in counseling is what is preventing you from giving that. And it's super important. What is preventing you from giving the things that are needed in a relationship? This is what counseling does. We have to make it make sense why you can't give those very things that you want. Now let's go back to happiness right here. Happiness, the context of mental, how we think, emotional, how we feel, is positive or pleasant emotions ranging from contentment to intense joy. Often the thing that is stopping us from intense joy is we have become content even with negativity. Some of us go, it's okay. I didn't deserve that anyway. It's okay. That's just how men are. It's okay. That's just how women are. It's okay. People always treat me like that. It's okay. I mean, I don't deserve more than that. It's okay. I didn't have an orgasm, but she had fun. I didn't have an orgasm. He had fun. You start to become content with negativity. Now he didn't really mean to talk to me like that. He gets upset. I make him upset. Yeah, I mean, she talks to me like that. It's okay. Her father used to talk to her like that, so I'm okay with it. I mean, she takes care of me for the most part. She's pretty cool. We start to make excuses because we're content instead of not searching for joy. And the crazy part is, in the crazy papers in this country, it says you have the right to the pursuit of happiness. This crooked government tells you in their papers, and I say there because they didn't take me into consideration. I was a slave when my people were slaves when they wrote it, but okay, the truth is the truth. But one of the inalienable rights, meaning that it is given to you by birth, is that you have the right to be happy. But often many of us give that right away, and we let somebody else be happy with us while not being happy with them. That's a problem. That is why you come to counseling. That is why you talk to someone like me. Because you have the right to be happy. You have the right to all 10 things. You have the right to affection, the right to acceptance, the right to validation, the right to autonomy, the right to security, the right to trust, the right to empathy, the right to be someone's priority, the right to connection, and the right to your own space. But often we give that away. Now, with that said, I want to give you 5 things that make for a healthy relationship. And again, if you have all 5, if you're in a relationship right now, I want you to put how many of these things you have in your relationship. So I'm going to give you 5 essentials for a healthy relationship. And then when I'm done, I want you to put a 2 or a 1 or a 3 or a 4 or a 5. If you have all 5, put a 5. If you have 4, put a 4. If you have 3, and if you have none, because you ain't dating, put a 1. Hey, Tamar, what's going on? All right. Now, open communication. One hallmark of a healthy relationship is the ability to communicate openly. So if you have that, okay. Listening and feeling heard. Having someone to listen to us and feeling heard is important. 2. 3 is working through disagreements. 4, mutual intimacy. And 5, trust. If you have all 5, put those down. Put 5 in the chat. I have all 5 in my relationship. I have all 5 with my wife. That's what allows us and helps us to get over difficult moments when they happen, because we have all 5. We have open communication. She can talk to me. I can talk to her. We listen and feel heard. And when we're not, we address it. We work through our disagreements because we believe the relationship is stronger than our problems. We have mutual intimacy and we trust each other. Okay, Tamara, you have all 5 with your husband. Excellent. Jamie, you got 3. Jamie, if you don't mind me asking, which 2 are you missing? If you don't mind sharing with me. Which 2 are you missing? And again, guys, the reason why we have these conversations is because if, like Jamie put 3, then part of what we would work on is the 2 that are missing. And in Tamari's case, where she has all 5, then one of the things that she and I would work on is how do you sustain all 5 so it doesn't fall off. And remember what I said at the bottom here. Contentment to intense joy. That's a large space. It is a large space. So somebody might be content over here, intense joy over here, and a lot of people are in between. We want to be able to move everybody towards intense joy, Because when you get to intense joy, and it goes back to pursuit of happiness, when he goes at the end, this right here, this little piece right here is happiness. But he doesn't tell you what type of happiness. But when we watch the movie, we know it was intense joy because he had now gotten a position with Dean Ritter. All the pain, all the work paid off. That was intense joy. He had gotten it. And that's why he said for this small moment, because intense joy may not last if you don't put the work in. So, Jamie, you said open communication. What's the other one? Open communication. I got you. So which is the other one? So we got open communication, listening and feeling heard, working through disagreements, mutual intimacy, trust. What's the other one, Jamie? So open communication is one. What's the other one that you don't have? And again, these would be areas that you would sit down with your partner and work on. Or you come to counseling, sit with me, and we work on helping you with ways to be able to go home and create the open conversations that's necessary to be able to fix what's wrong. And I'm going to put up my information if you need to reach me and anything like that. If there's anybody watching this again, if you're watching this on replay, if you're not here with Tamari and Jamie to hang out with me, okay. Open communication and trust. And those two kind of go together, Jamie. I had a feeling that you might say that because when we can't talk, often a lot of it has to do with trust issues. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being honest. I appreciate you, bro. Is that often we shy away from, if we can't communicate how we feel, then we don't feel this trust. We don't trust like we should because we don't feel we can express, or we're not being heard. So it's super important. Or we're not communicating as effectively as we could. Being heard is something different. All right. So we have the 10 emotional needs. We have the 5 essentials to a healthy relationship. And the very last thing before I jump off here, and again, thank you for taking the time out with me. Thank you for hanging out with me every Friday, 10:30 here on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube Live. I am here. Here's the thing that I want everybody to understand. I wanted to leave you this. I told you I would come back to this. It is no one else's responsibility, including your husband and everybody else, your wife, everybody else, to meet your needs if you don't understand what your needs are. You have to have an understanding of what your needs are, have those in place, and then when you invite somebody in to be a part of your life, then the 5 essentials kick in. Case in point, Tamari and I both said we have 5. So once I understood what I needed, it made it easier to have open communication with Tiffany. It made it easier for me to listen and feel heard because I had an understanding of what I needed, what I was willing to do. We were able to work through our disagreements because I made a decision that I'm going to come to the table and do what I have to do. And I wanted that in my life. You can't want, or you can want, but you're not going to get what you're not willing to give. It will not be sustainable. I'm coming to realize that when my woman has an issue and I'm feeling a certain way, then I need to stop looking for that void to be filled by jumping in bed and flirting with another woman. There it is, bro. You just spoke a word right there. You will never find the fix to the woman or man that you're with in the arms of another woman or man. Trust me, I know. Fix home first, or blow it up, start all over. You can never find solace, comfort. You can never find comfort in what you are going through at home, in the arms, in the embrace, or between the legs of somebody else. It won't work. It'll be pleasant. Remember what I said? Happiness can seem pleasant, but it's not sustainable, because pleasant can also be negative. An ejaculation seems pleasant, but if it's with the wrong person, it's negative. It felt good, but it's negative because it was with the wrong person. So that little mini piece of happiness has now just destroyed everything that you have. Was it worth it? And again, it goes back to wants versus needs. Did you need to be there? No, you wanted to be. Let's see, Jamie, you said, I'm not always me. Maybe it's not always me. It's sometimes something else she's dealing with. I tend to think she's messing around, so I get back. I get revenge, or I tell myself that she's doing it to me. And that goes back to what you said about communication, Jamie, is that if you don't have quality communication, you're going to fill in the thoughts. You're going to fill in the narrative. You said, I think. It's not always she's and that's the thing. You said, I tend to think she's messing around. You didn't say, I know she's messing around. And what if you're wrong, bro? That means you're creating a scenario and then reacting to the scenario. And then now you're invoking revenge. Revenge on what? If you think she's doing, it's different if you say, Keith, she's doing me dirty and I didn't know how to deal with it. So I went out and did whatever. I get it. This is where counseling comes in. Guys, please understand that everything that I'm sharing today is to lead you to understand what I do as a professional, but I can't drag you into a counseling session. So I have to give you a counseling session like this so you can see what I think, how I act, because this is what's necessary. This is what I do. And I'm not going to judge you because the goal for me is to figure out how I can help you. The goal for me is to listen to what you say, figure it out, go research it if I need, then come back to the table and say, here's some things you could do to maybe make things better. And I say maybe because I don't know if it's going to work until you actually do it. And if it doesn't, then we figure it out. I just said, I don't have all the answers, but I'll go find some. It's important. Now, emotional needs play an important part in a relationship satisfaction. If they're fulfilled, you might feel, okay, hold on one second. Let me read it tomorrow. I said, I'll go back to reading. You have to fix self first without question tomorrow. You have to be happy with self. Exactly. No one can fill that void or any void that you may have. You need to fix whatever is within yourself first. Exactly. That is why I said no one has to meet your needs. You have to be able to understand what your needs are and invite people in. And when you were straight, you're good. My ex and I had communication issues, and I look back at my actions, and Keith, I could have did things. We all could, brother. That's learning. That is learning. That is how we learn. We learn from our experiences, positive and negative. And if we have not learned, then we repeat some of the same, myself included. Recently, I did some stupid things that I had to fix because I didn't learn from past situations. I had to get myself together because I'm like, really, bro? And it happens. And it has nothing to do with level of education. It has nothing to do. It has to do with how well you understand you. Now, just because you're educated means you have an idea or a thought and can maybe express yourself, but you still are human. And we're going to make mistakes, and we have to learn from those mistakes. First, we have to acknowledge and admit those mistakes. Then, if we don't have answers, we have to get help. This is what I do. This is what I'm here for. Because we can't fix ourselves if we don't understand ourselves completely. Like Tamari said, she said it very well. You have to be happy with yourself. So the question becomes, when you're not happy with yourself, what do? You come to a professional counselor and say exactly that. I am not happy. Okay, let's tear that apart. Let's figure out why you're not happy. Was it something from your past? Is it something that's currently going on? Is it emotional? Is it mental? Is it physical? Is it spiritual? All those areas may need to be addressed to get you to a position of intense joy. You might just be content. Or if content is not even there, then we really got some work to do. Now, let me go through this so I can finish this up for you guys. Emotional needs play an important part in relationship satisfaction. If they're fulfilled, you might feel content, excited, or joyful. When they go unmet, on the other hand, you might feel frustrated, hurt, or confused. Speaking of what Tamari's talking about and what Jamie is talking about. That said, your partner does not have a responsibility to meet all your needs. Let me say that again. Your partner does not have the responsibility to meet all your needs unless they have signed on and told you they will do so. They do not have to show up that way. That is what marriage is about. That's why marriage is a commitment to both of us making sure each of us is okay. But just dating, And just dating, I am not responsible. I'm getting to know you. And when I make that commitment, when I decide you are the one, and if you make that decision for somebody that you are the one, then you can start to explain what your expectations are. But you need to have you straight first. Many of us don't. Some needs, such as trust and communication, speaking to you, Jamie, do affect relationship success. Without trust and openness, relationships typically do not work out long term. That's super important, but they can't fulfill every need. Your partner cannot fulfill every need, and you need to understand that. Sometimes we want to punish our partner for not giving us what we believe we need when it actually is what we want. It's not their job. Even within a romantic relationship, it's essential to explore other avenues of getting needs met, whether by yourself or through a meaningful relationship with others. This is where friends come in. This is where self-help comes in. This is where your church comes in. This is where your hobbies and the things that make you well-rounded come in. This is where your job could come in if you enjoy your job. Most of us are so much more than our relationships, but we reduce ourselves down and then we put the weight on our partner. Make me happy. You better make me happy. And you don't have a damn clue what happiness looks like. And I left him. He wasn't making me happy. Why? I didn't like the way he was moving. I left her. She wasn't making me happy. Why? I didn't like the way she was making me feel. Did you explain it to her? I told her I didn't feel that way. Did you tell her what you needed? What do you mean? Did you tell her what you needed? I don't know what you're talking about. How is she supposed to know how to make you happy if you didn't explain to her what the happiness looked like? She was supposed to figure it out. She knew what I wanted. You just said you never told her. Oh, you're playing with my head. This is why I don't like coming to counseling. And I have heard that. I have heard that. Not you, bro. But I have heard that. I've heard people attack their partner, say that their partner is doing things to them. She wanted me to feel like this. That's why I haven't talked to her in 2 years, because she right now sitting around thinking that she hurt me. How you know that? I just know. How? Because I do. That doesn't say anything. How do you know? You said you haven't spoken to her for 2 years. Because I just know. I know she's laying there thinking about me. Really? Really? Are you sure it's not you laying there thinking about her and mad because you're creating this rabbit hole that you now are running through like an Alice in Wonderland? I appreciate you saying that, Jamie. But this is some of the stuff I hear. I know he chose that new chick because he wanted to rub it in my face. He chose a chick look just like me. Maybe he has a preference for women of size and women with your skin complexion. I don't care. He chose her because he couldn't be with me. So he chose somebody else who looks like me. Really? When the last time you spoke to him? 5 years ago. You spoke to him 5 years ago. And you think he's still out here choosing because of you, but you haven't spoke to him to confirm that? It took me too long to understand that. I was scared to explain or thought that I deserved what I needed in all the past abuse. I got you, Tamar. I got you. And it's very important, guys. Listen to me. The reason why it's up to us to take care of our needs is because you have to be able to convey to a person, what do you need? And you have to be clear, and there has to be a clear outcome to the need, because if you didn't say to me, let's say Tiff said, I need you to be able to do X, Y, and Z for me, and I can't do that, well, then there's no reason to go further. It stops right there. I can't do that. I don't have that capacity. I don't have the finance. I don't have whatever. Even to the nasty. You got to have that conversation too, if that's what you need. Why would you get with somebody who doesn't have what you need and then run them down for not having what you wanted? I don't like the way she get down in the bedroom. It disgusts me. Did you tell her what you needed ahead of time? Yes. And what did she say? She said she wasn't able to do that. So why are you now mad that she's doing what she actually told you she could do, and she's not doing what she says she don't do? I'm just saying, she knew what I wanted. You didn't answer my question. Well, I thought when we get together, she would figure it out. But you're not talking about it. And you're angry at her for not having what you wanted when she told you she couldn't give it to you. That's a you thing. What? So you on her side? F you. I don't want to come to counsel no more. Okay. Okay. There's the ghosting. I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to uncover why you're not. I'm not here to be on anybody's side. I'm here to look at what's on the table and figure it out. And yeah, as your counselor, there's times I'm going to have to hold the mirror up and let you hear the BS that you're trying to sell me. But you've been jamming it down your partner's throat. You know how many times people say, I didn't tell them X, but I'm mad that they didn't figure out why. So let me get this right. You're mad that they don't cook dinner the way you like, but you never told them how you like dinner? And you're wondering why your relationship's in a bad place? What? Who does this? You want the answer to that? Many people, millions of billions of people. 7.5 billion people on this planet. Quite a few billion do exactly what I just said. They have high expectations of want, but yet they do not express their needs. And then they don't want to get help, and they don't want to be held accountable. That is why many of us have such an issue with spirituality. Many of us have issues with religion. We don't want often what the religion says we have to do. So we ignore it. Now, oh yeah, there's bad people on all sides. I ain't getting into that, but I'm just telling you that when you consider what you need and you consider what you want, are they aligned? And if they are, you have given yourself a working platform to happiness. And when I look at happiness, the goal is intense joy. Am I there yet? No. But I'm further from content. I'm more than content, but I'm after intense joy. And I had to come to some realizations that I wasn't doing all the things necessary to get me to intense joy. I was working too much. I was spending too much time on social media. I was putting my energy into things that cannot pour back into me and losing a connection to those that were. Even in business, I was connecting myself to people in business that was not bringing me joy in what I was doing, but yet here I am making them better, and it wasn't being returned. So hence, I had to figure out what I needed, and once I figured it out, I let go, disconnected myself from people who could not give me what I needed because it was not what I wanted. I did not want to be used in business any longer. And that's what was happening. That was not my need. That was not my want. And when I aligned the two, the target became even greater. I left my ex while she was dealing with cancer. That was not the reason I left, but I feel that was selfish of me, but she didn't want my children around unless I was home. Jamie, that's a lot right there. And I'll be honest with you, you and I have talked, and that's something that I want you to write down, and we can have a conversation about that, because you might be connecting the wrong things and getting the wrong outcome from it. That's a conversation that we can have, bro, simply because just because a person was in a particular state, physically, emotionally, spiritually, or health-wise, if there were moves that needed to be made, sometimes we can hold ourselves guilty for making moves when it was actually the right move, but it just seems wrong. So that's a conversation that we can have when you're ready. And the reason why is that sometimes we can hold on to negativity, meaning I left and the person did something foolish to themselves, and now you blame yourself. If I hadn't left him or I hadn't left her, maybe she wouldn't have offed herself. Well, you don't know that. But it's easy to blame simply because if we don't have all the answers. And remember, Jamie, you said communication was an issue, so you may not have an understanding of everything that was going on, and you might not have put enough of you on the table for it to be what it was going to be. Like I said, there's a lot there to pull at. I feel like I still feel a dislike and anger. I understand, and that's something that has to be worked on, sir. And you have to ask yourself this big question. I'll give you this while I have you on the chat. Why? If you still feel dislike and anger, challenge yourself why. Write it down. Write it down. Write down why you still have dislike and anger for somebody that you're not with. It goes to what I was just speaking, because then it's not a her issue. It's a you issue. And what you have to look at is why you have these feelings. And that's what we have to pull back. Those are the things that we have to pull back to look at and go, okay, why is this in place? Why do you feel this way? How do we replace the negative feelings with positive feelings? So write that down, Brother Jamie. That's something that can help you going forward. All right, guys, it's been an hour, and I am over an hour, and I am so glad that Tamari and JJ came to hang out with me today. I appreciate you. And if you have watched this to the end and you are still here with me, I appreciate you. If, because she didn't accept a part of me, but she says she loved me. And that's a conversation. Again, that's communication, bro. That the lack of communication came back to haunt y'all, because that was supposed to be a conversation had before it even got to the point of just blown up. If you didn't converse with her what was important to you and how important it was, well, then, as I said, it never gets better if you don't communicate it at the beginning. And we would have to talk about that. It would be hard to do it like this through chat. We'll have to talk about that, because you'd have to give me all of the things that went on before and after and all of that, and we could talk about it. Like I said, I don't want you to expose too much about yourself. I don't want people blowing you up without knowing you directly. They need to get to know you. And we know on social media, people don't do that. So write it down, write it all down. And I definitely would love to have that conversation with you, and we will. So I appreciate you. And Tamari, again, congratulations on your nuptials. Congratulations on being a married woman again. Make that man happy. That's what I'm talking about. Don't beat him up, though. We're not doing no more assaulting of men, Tamari. Stop beating on dudes. But congratulations, Mrs. Cole. And I am happy that you are happy. And that's what I'm talking about. All right. So anybody that's watching, if you're watching on replay, if you want to go see any of my previous videos, you're welcome, love. If you want to watch any of my previous videos, they are all on YouTube. Here is the link right here. Just go to YouTube and put in KL Belvin. All of my videos going all the way back, I think 10 years now, 12 years now, but I have over 300, almost 400 videos. You can go check them out. I would love to, and you can subscribe. Please make sure that you subscribe, okay? But more importantly, if anything that you've heard today moves you to want to have a professional session with me to go over things like wants versus needs, or anything else that you hear me talking about, here is how you reach me. If you need to speak to me, just set up a free call. It's free initial. After that, yes, we have to figure out what the investment is going to be. And it's private. No, I do not come on and spill your stuff and put your name out. We're not doing that. And use this link right here. It's the discovery call link. Just go to Linktree/Keith_KL_Belvin. Just go to linktree.com and you can find my name. You'll find me. And all my links are there. Everything, whether it's down to email, even if you wanted to send me a donation. I don't solicit them, but that's there too. I don't ask for it. People won't give, they're going to give. I don't worry about that. But everything is there. And I'm here because, again, this is what I do. This is what I do for a living. I enjoy speaking and trying to help people with what's wrong. It's what God has built me for. It's what I do. Okay? Now, if you go to church and you feel that these are services that your church should have, and you ask yourself, how come my church doesn't provide this type of help? They should. Well, I'm here for that. I help churches create mental health ministries. I help churches reach out to help their members who might be going through something. And if you believe your church is somebody that needs this, or you want me to talk to your pastor, here's my information. Just reach out. In the subject, just put Braven's Church Assistance Program. And that's my email, info@bravenconsultants.com. And I would gladly reach out, talk to you, or talk to your pastor, because I am very strong on building mental health ministries, because that is another way for us to be able to help each other. And let me tell you why. It's real simple. If you guys have not seen this, I've said this before. One of the scriptures that I lean on is Galatians 6:2. Carry each other's burden, and in this way you will fulfill the laws of Christ. I believe it is my job as a man of God to make sure that I am out here helping people who need it. So I have structured my business around that because I want to help people. It's what I do for a living, and it is how I am rewarded from God, because when people pay me, then I know I'm doing the work that I am supposed to do. And that is something that I get excited about. Now, with that said, let me gather up my papers here. Now, I want you to remember, hold on one second, because I don't know where it went to. And I live by a real simple thing. Okay, remember, there we go. I have a hashtag, and I have a bunch. Let's see. Okay. Somehow it got knocked off my screen here. I'm going to put it up for you. I actually have 2 hashtags. I'm going to share them with you. And I'm going to explain to you what they are and why they are. Okay, here we go. So, with all that you've heard me say, right? My 2 hashtags are simple. So I want you to remember this. I honestly believe that when 2 people get together, the problem can be solved. So my hashtag is we can fix this. Not, no, I got to change that. It said fix. Lord, I got to edit that. Hold on one second. There we go. Okay. It said fix, we can fix. Well, like I've been drinking. All right. We can fix this and bring me your pain. The first one is we can fix this. I believe that. I believe that when 2 or more people get together with the idea of fixing a problem, it can be solved. It may take some time, it may take years, but it can be fixed. And the God that I pray to, that I believe in, I'm not asking you, but the God I pray to says when 2 or more people together, he shows up. And when he shows up, I know anything is possible. That is why it is the first one. The second one is the even simpler one. For me to be able to fix anything, I need you to bring me your pain. For me to be able to help you, I need you to make the decision. This is why it's super important that when you heard me say, no one has to meet your needs. I cannot help you until you decide that a need that you have needs to be met. And if it is the need to get help, then I am here to help, but I cannot do that until you bring me your pain. That's what I'm here for. That's what I was built for. I was built for this. As Beyonce say, I woke up like this. I do. I wake up every day and I'm here, ready. I always have some words to say something. Brother Jose, what's going on, sir? Good morning, my brother. And always, Jose, thank you so much for everything that you do behind the scenes. Jose shares out whatever video I put on all the time to people on his page, and I love that brother for that. And Brother Jose is doing his thing. Blessings to you, Jose, and the moves that you're making, my brother. What people don't realize that in this dark, cold world, there's some people that's finding happiness. And I know people want us to believe that happiness is not real. It is. You just have to do some work. You got to climb through some mud. But when you get through it, there's somebody for you on the other side. And that goes to anybody watching who think, ain't nobody out there for me. I know how you feel. There is. All right, so I'm going to get ready to go. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Now, before I go, make sure that you like this. If you're on YouTube, subscribe so you can be notified when I go live. And then I want you to share this. But here's the thing. When you share this, don't just share it. Share and say, here's why you should check out Keith. Or this is what I got from today. Or Big Man is on point. You need to come take a look. And I'm going to tell you why. I can't reach everybody, but through you, I can reach people that I don't know. And you can let your people know they should come check me out. And when they come, I'll take care of them. And together, again, you see, we can fix this. I can reach people on your page through you, and I will take care of the pain that they go through when they come back. That's how we build a nation. That's how we build a kingdom. And that is what God wants. And that is why this right here is one of the scriptures that I lean on. When we carry each other's burden, and in that way, you will fulfill the law of Christ. So when we do that, then as a man of God, I believe I'm doing what God has asked me to do. Thank you, Tamari. Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate you as always. Guys, have a wonderful Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you next Friday, God willing, at 10:30.